Welcome to the 71st episode of the Meeple Society, a podcast about board games hosted by two longtime role players turned avid board gamers. My name is Katie.
I'm Greg.
On this episode, we breeze through all of our new pickups from Gen Con. All 24 of them?
It's not a lot.
Says who? Anyway, we talk about some of our favorite Gen Con memories from this year and past years. We go through our new something old, something new, something borrowed, and something that blew segment, though this week I'll admit it's pretty one-sided. With Gen Con just a week ago, I'll give you one guess where everything is falling. And finally, we try something new. This week, Greg is on the hot seat.
Yay.
All right, so anyway, where do you want to start?
Upcoming events. We didn't write anything down, though, but we do have the Dice Tower Retreat coming up in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It starts 2 weeks from Tuesday.
Yep.
So just over 2 weeks from now. And this will be a good time to bring that up then, because the next time we would typically record is in 2 weeks, and we're leaving 2 days before we would typically record. So we're going to take a little break for the end of summer.
Our summer vacation.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's still technically summer. Fall doesn't start till the end of September.
Yeah. Fall won't be here till we get back.
So we will not have an episode in 2 weeks, but if you are a member on the YouTube channel, number one, thank you. But two, you can watch there. We'll try to post some shorts and stuff and small stuff from the retreat. And I say that, I know I think that every year, and I never do it. I'm going to try. It's the best I can do.
And if you're not following us on YouTube or
then
haven't subscribed, go do it.
Yes.
You can see all of our top 10s and our playing through our collections.
Absolutely.
And everything, so.
Absolutely. Okay. So anyway, you will not hear an episode in 2 weeks. We will be back after this episode, of course.
Yep.
We will be back in a month.
Yep. Speaking of YouTube, we have 2 new releases out there now.
Yes.
One came out today, and that is our top 10 strategy board games.
Yes. Well, at the time you're hearing this, 2 days ago. But it came out this morning.
Yeah.
At the time of recording, it came out this morning.
Yes. Anyway, and episode 61 of Playing Through Our Collection.
It came out about 10 days
we
ago.
are in the P's.
Yes. Yes, that was the first episode of the P's. We've got the second episode ready to record. It's been ready to record for a week and a half now. But, Gen Con.
Right.
So it didn't happen.
Okay. Let's move along.
Okay.
New to the collection.
Okay. As I said, we picked up almost 24 things at Gen Con this year, not including little promo cards and stuff like that. We did have a couple promo cards for Aquatica and for Role Player, which I've already stuck into the boxes.
And Terraforming Mars. We had a couple promo decks we got for, not decks, but they were packs of cards, like 5 or 10 cards for Terraforming Mars. Just because, that's the one thing Terraforming Mars needs is more cards. Yeah.
Anyway, and those are not on the list. Where do you want to start or you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
We're going to start off with Luna. This is an old Steffenfeld game. And we don't really know a lot about the game because we haven't played it. This one came out in 2010. So it's not really old. It's only 14 years old. In
board game terms, though, it's not old. You're right. It's not old. We've got listeners who would argue with us there on when we say old. Phil.
Yes, I know.
Anyway, but it is one of his older games.
Yeah, this is a kind of a area majority and modular board kind of game. Tile placement, worker placement.
We actually picked up 3 different Steffenfeld games.
Older ones,
directly from the consignment shop. Now, at Gen Con every year, they have this huge consignment shop where if you want to get rid of some old games, you set the prices, you fill out the tag on the condition and a little description of the game, if there's any expansions included, that type of thing, and you set the prices for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mm-hmm. And the idea is it's supposed to go down. We did see one that went up, which made 0 sense, but okay, whatever. It's almost like they got it backwards. So you set the prices, and depending on what day it's actually picked up out of the consignment room is how much money you get from it. Yeah. We picked up 3 different Steffenfeld games.
Yeah, we picked up Luna.
And we haven't played any of them yet.
We picked up Roma.
Yes.
Roma is kind of a head-to-head game.
Is it?
It is his very first game he's put out.
Okay.
So it's one that I've been looking for. Go ahead. Pronounce that last one.
Spielscherdot? Strat?
I think when I heard the pronunciation, it said the Spielscherdot.
I don't know. It looks like
Something like that.
Spiel, Share, Strat. STRA.
Spielscherdot.
Yeah, there you go. That's how we're pronouncing it. Anyway, I know nothing about this game.
This is
other
an
than
auction
it's an
game.
older Steffenfeld game.
Yeah, this is an auction game.
So those three, again, all Steffenfeld, all came from the consignment shop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, something else we picked up was a small card game called Explosions in the Laboratory. I will admit, this one took a minute to wrap our heads around. And I thought for sure this is going to be one of those it blew games when we first started playing it.
Yeah, because the three of us could not figure out
took a moment.
We
sat down and played this. We had a friend come out for Gen Con, lives out in the Phoenix area, just south of Phoenix. And we met him at Dice Tower West, a year and a half ago. So he came out and spent Gen Con with us, and Sunday we were all kind of peopled out and tired of being bumped into, so we came home early and just sat here and played games all night. This is one of the ones we pulled out. The idea is that you're playing cards, and the way the cards play out determine what type of chemicals you are using. And you're mixing chemicals in hopes of not causing an explosion. Took a minute for us to figure this one out. We definitely want to get some more plays in of it, though, and we might touch base on this one later.
Yep.
But it's an interesting card game once we wrapped our head around it.
It's a push-your-luck game that has only 27 cards.
Yes. Oh, I guess that is only 27 cards.
I'm looking at it right now. It says 27 cards.
Yeah.
I was interested. I couldn't remember because when we opened it up, it's like going, that's it? It's just
it's
a
just
few
a
cards?
little bitty box.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
Yep. And we've gotten into some reason here lately. We've gotten into these small card games.
You have gotten into these small
card games. I have gotten into these small box card games.
I was not looking at the small box games. You were looking at every one we passed. So, which I'm fine with.
It's easy to travel with.
They are very easy to travel with, and maybe we'll take this one with us because it takes up no space on the table.
Yep. Get Jeff's opinion on it.
There you go. Watch him blow up.
What?
He could blow up.
Yeah.
I blew up pretty bad in this one because I always push my luck a little too far.
Okay, we continue down the path. This one was actually on my to-watch list, but I put it on there because of you.
I know.
And this is Super Kawaii Pets.
Yes.
And this is all about rescuing.
Well, it's not even rescuing. It's you're trying to make the animals happy. The animals come to you very mad or upset, and you have to give them the love or the food or whatever they want in order to make them happy. So it's a resource management, the resources being various cards. And then once you can get extra points by putting them into carriers, and the carriers are each marked for what type of animal they'll take. So it's a cute little game. I'm not going to lie. The booth was set up really cleverly. They had the booth where they were demoing this was set up like a living room with a coffee table and a TV in the background playing videos of cute pets.
Mm-hmm.
Drew me in right there. Never did get a chance to sit down. It was busy every time we walked by. But we've got a play in of it at Gen Con, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but it was still a cute game. And we'll pull it out again. We'll definitely play it again.
Mm-hmm.
The next one we picked up was Ancient Knowledge, the Ancient Knowledge expansion, Heritage. I don't know what this adds to it. I know it adds more cards and it adds a new mechanism, but I don't know. I opened it, I stuffed it in the box, and we'll get back to it later, next time we play it. So, but I'm curious to find out what all that includes.
Yep. Then we got Role Player Inventions. Adventures Expansion, Nefarious Judgment. And this is, we have not started our little plays of Role Player Adventures yet. We played it once, like a year or two ago.
Yeah. And we sat for like 4 hours.
And so our Sunday, so now we have our Sunday once every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever, cooperative day that we play with two of our other friends. And this one is the next one we're going to start playing. And we talked to Keith, I can never pronounce his last name, the designer of the game. and said, "Hey, we're looking at possibly getting an expansion. We're just getting ready to start playing this." And he goes, "Oh, this is the one you need. This is the one that it adds to your character and gives little side quests and everything
For each character.
for each character."
Yeah.
I was like, "Sold. Let's do that."
Yeah.
And with that, we got hot sauce.
Yes.
Got to talk about the hot sauce. It's actually pretty good. I've got about a half a bottle left already.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, Matt liked it too.
Yeah.
It was what I say. It was a
Peach. Yeah, it's peach.
hot sauce. It's got an odd taste to it at first, and it's not extremely hot. It just adds just enough kick.
Huh. I don't do hot sauce, so
You might take
I
a
didn't
little
even
bit
try
and
it.
just kind of dab it on something and try it. It's like I said, it you don't sit there with your mouth burning.
Okay, I might have to try it.
So
We'll see.
But yeah, that's Role Player Adventures expansion, Nefara's Judgment.
I'm looking forward to digging into that one tomorrow. All right, we also picked up a game from Devere called Cities. This is one of their newer games. It's all about building out a city. It's a 9x9 grid, so it kind of has a little bit of a King Domino feel in how you're laying your tiles out with a 9x9 grid. You're trying to match up stuff in order to score points. We're going to dig into this one a little later in the podcast, so I will leave it at that. We'll come back to this one.
Then we picked up out of the consignment shop. Well, actually, Justin, our son, picked this up and said, "You need this game.
Put it on the stack."
This was Greedy Kingdoms. It's a 2-player game, kind of a head-to-head 2-player game, but you can play 4 players if you have 2 copies. Well, they have a copy, and they want to play this 4 players.
And they've been wanting to get 4 players.
So he handed us this copy. He says, "You must buy it." And he found another copy. He
Yeah.
found like 2 or 3 copies.
I think they ended up buying a
copy.
copy too, so they have a 4-player set now.
Yeah.
Too. So yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
All right, then we picked up Gnome Hollow from the Op. Very good game. I wasn't real sure about it. I don't go after. I'm not usually attracted by the games that seem to have a lot of hype.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this one did because the Op sponsored the balloon display. So the balloon display this year was a hollowed out tree with gnomes all around it and grass, and it was really cute.
And the fact that people could get inside of the
Yes.
gnomes and they were walking around.
That was so
place. It was cool.
But so I wasn't real keen on this, but then toward the end of the con, we were watching it played, and it just looked interesting. So we went ahead and picked it up. We played it that night here at the house, and it was good. So it is a tile placement where you are trying to make fairy rings of plants and plants. And each of the rings has certain emblems on it, certain mushrooms on them, and you get those mushrooms. When you complete the ring, you get those mushrooms as resources, and you're trying to gather so many mushrooms in order to get points. And there's a sideboard with points listed for each mushroom, for each number of mushrooms. I want to say there's like 6 different kinds of mushrooms. That's the basis of the whole game. You can go to the central stump, which is what the balloon display was modeled after, and
there you go, and you sell them.
You sell all your mushrooms for the points at the end of the game. I just thought it was really cute, and trying to make sure that you can make your rings, because you get points for various sized rings too, which is really neat. And I thought the production quality on this was really good. We did get the upgraded resources because why not?
Because it's you.
Yeah. So that definitely helped over the cardboard, and that may be influencing my perception of it. I don't know, but I really liked it. I love the boards. The boards are actually magnetic, so they have a sheet of
metal.
Thank you.
Whatever.
They have a sheet of metal inside the player boards that the player pieces each have a little bitty magnet on them, a pin magnet, that make them stick to your board. So if you bump your board, they don't go flying. They might shift a little bit because they're not dual layered, but the magnets pretty well hold them in place, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think this is like the first game I've seen that you take 2 tiles and place 2 tiles.
Yes.
And then it just refills the market of the next player's turn, though. But
that's a mandatory action.
Yes.
Everything else is optional.
Yeah.
Mandatory, you have to place 2 tiles. Game ends when you're out of tiles.
And then when you close off that ring and you figure out how many tiles it took to close off that ring, and you take that piece and move it down, when you move it to one of those spaces in that line,
you get
to do something else.
Yeah, there's
which is
optional.
actually cool.
Yeah, there's extra bonus actions.
So yes,
which is kinda
this
cool.
was the Ops big game of Gen Con.
Yeah, I could see why. It was a good one, and it did end up selling out.
Yes, it did.
So yeah, very very good game.
We got one.
Yes.
So next we went to the Reef Project
Demo party.
release party.
Yes. Yeah, release party.
So this is a new game out from Board and Dice, I believe, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, Board and Dice.
Okay.
It's all about basically you're going around the coral reef and you're cleaning it up.
Cleaning up the
And
trash.
You're basically trying to circle around it, and when there's somebody in each area around the grid part of it, well, I guess it's not really a grid.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just oddly shaped areas.
Yeah.
It's
Around the
supposed
trash
to
tokens.
represent that you have all your netting and everything in there, and now you're going to pull the trash up.
Yeah.
And the person who has the most over there gets the big piece of trash, and you get special things for that.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool, and how you got to go around and put out reef balls, or as they kept sounding like they were saying, it was reebles.
Well, the two people who did the release party were from Poland. I think we
That's
decided.
where Board and
Yeah.
Dice is at.
And I love their accents. Oh my gosh, I could listen to her all day. Her accent was beautiful. But it did make it, the reef balls sounded like reebles when
Yeah.
she was saying
And
it
basically
quickly.
that is your route building mechanism, because
Yes.
when you leave a island, you put out a reef ball. Whichever way you're going, it actually doesn't have to be, but it has to be right beside the closest spot, right beside the island you're on, and then now you can travel that area for free. If not,
You pay energy.
you paid energy, and then like say you're going into an area nobody's gone on, and there's like 3 energy marks out. You have to pay 3 energies, then place your reef ball, and then go across. But now you can take that path free,
for them.
and
from
you
then
can move
on.
like from there all the way across the board if you have a path made up or enough energy to get all the way across. It was just really cool.
Yeah.
I seen this when I originally put us down for this. I'm like going, it's about a reef.
Which seems to be a hot theme now.
And you liked the spill, and because I seen it was all about
cleaning up
the coral reefs and everything, and I was like, well, she loves the spill. Maybe we'll like this. We ended up buying this game after we had to wait a day because they had sold out, and then they got an
emergency shipment in on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of 100 games, so we managed to get one of those.
Yep.
But yeah, really good game. I'm looking forward to playing that one again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another one that we picked up is Middle Ages from Hachette. Again, good game. We're going to cover this one later. We've already played it 3 or 4 times, so this will pop up later in the episode. So we'll come back to this one.
Mm-hmm. So another one that was not on our radar, I seen it and thought, this is my house. The game is called Way Too Many Cats. Which we do.
3 cats.
Okay.
And then
she owns 3 cats that live inside. Then she has about 100 of them outside.
I do not have 100. I have 8 strays I feed that come and go as they please.
Way too many cats.
And half of them I don't even see very often. I only see about 3 of them on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Shush. Anyway,
I'm not really sure exactly what the game's about. I know it's talking about getting the cats into areas to make them happy.
It's a 4x4 tableau.
And you're trying to group different cats together to
Yeah.
make certain synergies happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because that's how you score your points, if I'm not mistaken, is by how you're grouping them together. And at the end of the game, they're going to score. So
well, if we don't get this played before the retreat, we're going to take it with us and make Jeff from Tabletop Toolbox play it with us because he has way too many cats also.
Yes, he does.
So, although I'm sure he would not agree with that, but he does. Just like me. Anyway, next one we picked up was the one we were missing from the Shipwrights, or from the North Sea saga, which was Shipwrights of the North Sea Redo, or Redux.
Well,
we
had
the
the original copy.
We do. We're going to play them both. We're going to compare them. Maybe that'll be a podcast episode coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to compare the two and what changed, what didn't, that type of thing. But I don't know anything about this new one. To be honest, I don't remember anything about the old one. So we'll report back on this one at a later date. But we did pick up that one because it was the last one we were missing of that collection.
Yep. So we got a another expansion. This is the Aquatica expansion, Coral Reef.
Yes.
This is one, it adds you a new board, a bunch of new cards to go along with the new board, some new manta ray tiles, and coral little figurine kind of, not really minis, but it looks like little
resources.
stalks of coral.
They're gorgeous little pieces.
That there are certain ways during the game where you can get to pick them up and everything. And after playing this game at Gen Con, I was like, okay, in my head, I was like going, we're going to get this whether she wants to or not. But I know she wants to get it, though. But this is one of those expansions that you need to have when you play it. I would not play it without it.
Aquatica on its own is good. Having played this expansion, we will never play Aquatica without it.
Right,
It just gives... It adds a couple new mechanisms, a couple new options without changing the game.
It twists it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when you pick up a person for your deck,
yes,
you get a special power that goes on your city's board.
Onto your player board, yeah.
Your player board, when you do stuff over there, you'll get other things.
You get extra points, or it gives you extra abilities every time you put a card into whatever the piece of coral says. Yeah.
So if you played Shipwrights, if you've played Aquatica, the game's good.
Check this one out.
The second one, I liked some of the things it did, but not all of it.
It mostly gave new cards. It did a couple new
and
things.
And new ways of in-game scoring where you had to get them to be able to score it.
Yes. I forgot about that.
That's the part I did not like.
Okay.
Because I was hardly getting anything that I could get up there to take a card to get it.
That's right. Those new cards added new scoring mechanisms.
Yeah, it changed it a little bit too much for me. But Coral Reef, definite must.
Yeah, I agree. I like that one. All right, next one we picked up, and why am I always getting these ones, is Vegetable Stock. Little bitty card game. Again, we're going to touch on it later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint. So we'll come back to this one as well.
Then we have Weird Manor. This is a newly released...
Weird Wood Manor.
Did I just say Weird Manor?
You did. And I'm sure it is weird, but that's not the name of the game.
Weird Wood Manor. Weird Wood being one word. It's a cooperative game.
Yes.
Yes, it's work together to battle time and malevolent monsters in a magical, ever-shifting manner. This one has has two rings, one inner ring, one outer ring, that move, and it moves depending on the time that you're doing stuff.
Depends on how the game is
because you're coming over, like say you want to come over this action, but now that's going to make the moon go all the way back around, and now you lost a day, and you only have a certain amount of days to get through it. So it sounds really cool. It's a 1 to 5 player game. So
yeah, we're gonna play this one with our on one of our cooperative Sundays.
Yep.
So. All right, next one we picked up, and actually we didn't even pick this one up, so it shouldn't count against us. But this was a gift. This was a freebie.
When we bought Gnome Hollow.
When we bought Gnome Hollow, they handed us this one. It is basically a demo deck for Flip 7. We played it one day, and it's supposed to be a 3+. We did not see that. We played it 2-player.
Yeah,
I thought it played fine.
That's so tinily printed on this deck.
But with Flip 7, like I said, it's a card game. You are flipping cards much in like a blackjack style. You start out with one card. The cards are numbered 0 to 12 with the number indicating how many of those cards are in the deck.
Yes.
With 0 having 1, 1 having 1, 2 having 2, 3 having 3, etc., all the way up to 12. The idea is you want to get 7 cards in front of you without duplicating anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're rolling along and you've got a 12, great. That's worth 12 points. But if you say, hit me, and we flip over another 12, you've now lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're out of the round. So you want to get 7 different because it gives you 15 bonus points. First player to 200 points is who wins. I thought it was a unique game.
Yeah.
I thought it was very clever. I'm curious about if the full game, if it's just more cards, what is the difference with the full game? So we might be checking this one out if we can find the full game for a decent price. But I really liked what the demo deck did.
Mm-hmm.
So, very much so.
And I did like talking with her that I asked her about the 10 days in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
I said, are you guys doing the rest of the
right.
series? And she kind of grinned. She goes, I cannot deny.
I can neither affirm or deny.
Yeah, that I might be doing some artwork. I'm like going, okay.
Yeah, that was good. That was too funny.
Mm-hmm. So then we've got the Next Station Paris. We have Next Station London, and your brother has Next Station Tokyo.
Yes, they brought
Next Station Paris takes the game a little bit in a different. Well, it's the same type of game.
It's the same game.
But now you can have crossovers where now you, in certain areas, only use certain areas where the bridges are at, can you cross your lines over. Plus, it has a centerpiece with all the stations in it, so and with multiple ways to connect to it.
It basically becomes a wild right in the center of the board, which is nice.
It kind of reminded me of what is it? Grand Central Station in Maglev Metro, where you could connect to it a bunch of times.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've played it. I like it. I think I like it better than London now because of the new things. It has more cards that come out.
Yeah.
With as you're laying out cards, it has the wild card, but then they have another wild card that you can go to any station, or if you can connect to a tourist area, then you can take another turn.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yes. This would be a good one to pack. Again, small game, no table space taken. Mm-hmm. This would be great to even pull out a restaurant when you're waiting for your food to come,
really
things like
easy.
that. So, all right. Next, we also picked up in the consignment shop. We found the game of Scram. This was really hot a couple years ago. It's just a little card game.
Last year.
Was it just last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just a little card game based on something nature. I'll be honest, I didn't pay any attention to it because it was a 3+ game.
Yeah.
And we don't look specifically for 3+.
Nearly nothing, if I'm not
right.
mistaken.
We might have paid $5 for it in the consignment shop on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to digging into this one. Mm-hmm. Now that we have regular game events set up with people, this would be an easy one to get played. Last year we didn't, so we didn't even pay any attention to it. So yeah, we'll again probably report back on that later.
So actually these last three, including Scram, are all from the consignment shop. This next one we got is Anomia. This one we played on the first 24-hour board game marathon that we did. Jeff Knapp brought it with him, and was like going, "You guys have to play this." And I'm like, when at first he was saying, "Oh, it's a party game," I was like, "Not really big on party games, but we'll see." He broke it out. This is hysterical.
Well, we played it late night. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. We were all tired anyway, which just made it that much more hysterical. So, if you're not offended by a couple 4-letter word drops that happened accidentally during this game, go out and watch this on our first 24.
This wasn't late night.
Wasn't it?
No, the sun was up because we had the curtains open to get natural light in.
Oh, well, maybe it was that morning when we were all tired then. But anyway, it is a hysterical game to watch. So we ended up with the party version, which has 6 completely unique decks in it. And 5 of those 6 were still wrapped up in cellophane. They were still unused. So I was happy. Basically a brand new game.
Yeah, because this is all about everybody has a card in front of them. They flip it over, and then you have to. It's a shape or something on it. You have to match with somebody else, and then you yell out a one-word thing about what their card is in front of them.
If your card matches the person across the table, you have to say something that fits their card, and they have to say something that fits your card. The person who does it earlier gets the card.
And that's how you score points.
Yes. So yeah, it was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
All right. The last game that we picked up was a game called Hot Seat. And spoilers, we'll come back to that one later too.
Yes, this is what spurred the
new segment
in here.
And then we also picked up, because I can't say no to a good set of player mats, we picked up the Let's Go to Japan neoprene player mats.
Yep.
10 mats all together in the box, nicely wrapped up in a box.
Yep.
For $25. How could I say no? And the designer was there.
Yep.
So we took our game back in the next day, and he signed the box for us.
We got a picture of him with him and the box. Yep.
Yeah. It was a neat experience. So that is all of our Gen Con pickups, save a couple promo packs.
So speaking of Gen Con, I put this in here just to kind of go over some of if nobody's ever been to Gen Con, some of the things we've been through or experienced going to the different Gen Cons, because we've been going to Gen Con since
For almost 10 years.
2013,
Yeah,
2014.
for a little over 10 years now.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 years that we didn't go, 2020
Well,
and
obviously
2021.
2020 and 2021 we didn't go. 2022 we went one day and came home with COVID.
Yeah.
Go figure. But,
Mm-hmm.
um,
And there was still a mask mandate going on.
Yeah, there was a
time,
mask
too.
mandate at that point, too. But
So, favorite memories from past Gen Cons, what would be?
you
some
told
of
me
your-
this last night, and I have thought, and I can't. All right, so we spent 1 year working with Mayfair
Mhm.
and getting into the dealer hall early to help set that up. Yes, working the event is a lot of work. Our tickets were free. That's a bonus. We worked 4 hours a day each day to get our free tickets. That was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed meeting people and talking to people and sharing games with them. I taught on that one. I taught 4 Solid Days, Downfall of Pompeii, which is I won't say it's one of my favorite games, but it is definitely in my top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoy this one. Always have. Even though it's got to take that mechanism, it's also got a push your luck mechanism. And it was so much fun to share that fun, take that
Yeah.
with families, and to watch the kids giggle with joy for throwing Dad into the volcano.
Why's it always got to be Dad?
Because that's who they wanted to throw in the volcano every time.
So mine's from the same time, same thing.
Yeah.
But I was teaching family business.
Oh, I
if you've
know
never
what you-
played family business, each player has a bunch of cards for one mob family. And basically they're trying to off the other family, getting them on the wall to have them taken out.
Mm-hmm.
But the part of this I really liked is that I had a full table of some guys from New York. I think one was from New Jersey, but they were mostly all from New York. And they had the New York accent, but it was kind of light. But they had a New York accent. You could tell by the way they were talking, and they were talking to me about it. And then they were going through the family cards. I was like, oh, yeah, I've got this family. I know this family. They're from this side of the town, and they're from that side of the town. And then they played the entire game in character with really the 1920s or 30s really thick mobster voices. And it was just so interesting sitting there watching them play this, and it was like it was real life for them.
We've played this game a dozen times, and it has never failed to cause laughter.
Yes.
So.
This is a great game though. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite Gen Con moments. Also one the pandemic tournament we were in. It was like, oh, we're gonna go play pandemic with a bunch of people. This will be cool. And we show up and it's only 4 of us. Me and Katie. And then Justin and Eric, our 2 sons.
Yeah.
So we had to team up
Needless to say,
and play against each other.
somebody in the family won the tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was good. That was one of our first years out there too. This year we joined a tournament for Splendor,
Yep.
and you ended up winning second place overall.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time though. I played a total of 3 games. You played 4 because you had the final game. But it was a good time. And we made some connections with a new group that does gameplays called Game 7. I think it's Game 7. I've got her card in my wallet. Where they're always looking for volunteers to go to help teach games. And if you do enough games, you get a free badge out of it for various cons. If I can remember, that's the key here. I will have Greg put her email in the show notes if that is something you might be interested in.
Yep.
You can reach out to her about volunteering because they're always looking for new game masters to volunteer to do tournaments or to do playthrough or teach playthroughs. Because we actually did 2 things over in that hall. This time around because we
Played the last pandemic game we had not played.
Wrath of the Lich King, World of Warcraft. Wrath of the Lich King.
Yep.
So And that was a really nice gentleman came over. That's what he was doing. It was his favorite game, and he wanted to teach it. So he got a free badge because he taught this game so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very cool. Very neat organization that I would not mind doing some volunteer work with.
I think another one that I liked, I thought was really cool, is we had warned them because last year we had both Matt and Jeff with us.
Yes.
This was going to be their very first time at Gen Con, and we told them, it was like, because they wanted to be down there by the doors, like, no, we're going to stay up here.
Yeah.
I was like, just watch. That whole area down there is going to be flooded. And they were kind of like, yeah, okay. Well, we walked them over by the escalator when the doors opened up, and there's like, holy cow. It's a good thing we're not down there. They could not believe, as we called it, dubbed it, the running of the nerds, trying to get into the hall as soon as it opened.
Yeah. And it's very organized. It's just this weird flow. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will put the video I shot right here while we're talking about this.
If not, go to TikTok, and you can find us on TikTok, and the
you
video's
can see
there.
the video there. It's very fascinating to watch. That being said, you could not pay me to be in that crowd.
Now, we've been in that crowd before. The first few years we went.
Yes. I will never do it again. I will watch from the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will walk downstairs.
we don't rush to go get games anymore because the game, unless there's a certain reason why you need the game now, there's no reason to rush to get to the games because they're going to be out in stores in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. And half of the ones that were hot this year already are.
Yeah.
Comic Hunters, already in Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, it was already there. There's a couple more that you could already find it out there. And then even with Rock Hard, the guy at DeVere was saying the last day we tried getting in line to get that game, which we never did, said, your chances of getting the game is a lot better if you just order it online. It'll ship on that Monday. Yep.
The only difference is you wouldn't have gotten Jackie Fox's signature on it.
Right.
That'd be who is the designer of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. There's so many memories. The balloon structure every year, watching the kids build Cardhalla.
Mm-hmm.
It's the amount of things, the amount of diversity there. Oh my gosh, I remember one. We sat down a couple of years ago, last year. AEG came out, picked up The Captain is Dead, which is one of our favorite cooperative games. So we signed up to play it because we signed up for the 2-hour demo play because we wanted to see if there were any differences over the version we have, which is the Game Crafter version. Is it worth picking up the AEG version? Did they change the game at all? Spoilers, no, they did not. A little bit of the standees are a little different. That's about it. So we sat down to play this with 5 other people.
Mm-hmm.
Bless his heart, the kid teaching it had never played it. He had learned the rules that day. So we kind of helped out a little bit. We taught the game because we'd played it multiple times. We have 2 hours to play this game. We lost before everybody even had a turn. The cards just did not play in our favor. So everybody was unanimous. Let's try again. We've still got an hour and 45 minutes. So we reset the game and tried again, and that time we won. Everybody had a blast. It was so much fun. And you wouldn't think a cooperative game with 7 players is a great idea, but it works.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of cooperation to make it work. So, yeah, it was a good game.
So, last thing I want to hit on before we head over and start talking about something old and something new and all that is Patreon.
Okay.
We've always said that if we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we would start up a Patreon page. Well, during Gen Con, suddenly our subscriptions on YouTube just skyrocketed, and we're now over 1,000.
We're still trying to figure out how that happened.
Yeah.
It's just very
be
weird.
looking out soon for our Patreon page. As soon as we get it up and running and figured out what we're doing with it, we will put a link in all the video notes and podcast notes. So just keep an eye out for that. But we are going to Patreon. It's a way for you to support the channel by monetary donations, and we usually give you something back, like special editions of videos or meetups or what have you. That's the part we got to figure out first before we make it go live. But keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
So now it is time for something old, something new, something borrowed, and something that blew.
Yeah. Okay, so as I hinted in the items new to the collection, we have 3 items on here today. They are all new because we picked them all up at Gen Con. So the first game we're going to talk about is the game of Cities. This is one that we'd heard about, didn't know a lot about, but we knew it was from DeVere, and DeVere has got a lot of...
They've been kind of hitting it out of the park lately.
Yeah. So this came out this year, plays 2 to 4 players, 30 to 40 minutes, which is very on track.
Mm-hmm. It plays pretty quick.
Yeah, it does. Designed by Steve Finn and Phil Walker Harding. That right there was enough to attract my attention. Art by George Tabanera Redondo. Did I pronounce that correct?
Probably Jorge Tabanero Redondo.
Good call, yes. And like I said, published by DeVere. All right, so with Cities, you are building out a 3x3 tableau of tiles. Each tile is broken into 4 pieces, be it construction sites, water, or parks. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 items that could show up on any one land tile. The central board has 4 different options on it. You have endgame scoring cards, you have the land tiles, you have land accoutrements, whatever you want to call them, features, whether it be different kinds of ships and things that you put into your lakes, or different types of park features, waterfall or whatever. Yeah, I can't remember what. Not a waterfall, a water fountain. Waterfall in the park. Oh, pretty, but not in most city parks. But anyhow, and then you have your building plastic pieces at the bottom. Each person takes 4 meeples. In a 2-player game, you take 8. We've not played this 2-player yet, but we have played it both 3 and 4-player.
Yes.
So on each turn, the game plays in 8 rounds. Each turn, you're going to pick one thing from each of those 4 options. 1 endgame scoring card, 1 city tile, 1 park or water feature, and then 1 set of buildings. Mm-hmm. So you can only go into each one of those sections one time. So you're taking those and you're adding them to your player board. If you don't have room or you have no way of putting in the park or water features, then you have to throw them out. They're out of the game. If you don't have room for that particular color building, it's out of the game. You have to throw it away. You can't just save it for later. The game comes with, I want to say, 4 different double-sided tiles, and we got a promo tile of different cities around the world, and each one has different collective endgame scoring. First person to get it, kind of like Wingspan, or not Wingspan, I'm sorry, kind of like Earth. First person to achieve that goal gets to put one of their tokens. Yes, puts one of their tokens on the highest point marker, and then the next 3 out of the 4 people get to score something off of that. Like Indianapolis, and that's the one that comes to mind because we did play Indianapolis once. That was the promo tile that came, was Indianapolis, and the flip side was Essen. Go figure. So, like Indianapolis, the goals were have 4 buildings too high in a square to represent the convention center. And then it had...
is that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, it was the title on that particular goal was Convention Center. Then it had one, it actually said Speedway when I looked at it. I originally thought it had to have been White River, but it said Speedway on the goal title. But it was to have, oh my gosh, it was to have a park surrounded by either water tiles or buildings. A 3+ piece park surrounded by water or river tiles. Okay.
Well, there is a golf course inside of the Speedway.
Maybe that's what that's supposed to mean. I'm not sure. And then the last one was to have 2 buildings, 4 high, red, to indicate all of the red brick we have around the city. Okay.
Which I didn't even notice it until Matt pointed that out.
Yeah, Matt pointed that out, which I thought was kind of
limestone.
funny. But we do have a lot of red brick, though, around here. So anyhow... Those were the 3 common goals on the Indianapolis tile, and all the cities are completely different. Mm-hmm. So you're taking tiles, you're taking buildings, you're placing everything out on your board for 8 rounds. You can only build in a 3x3 square. You start with 1 tile that can go somewhere in your grid. It is a really neat game, and it plays very quickly. I was really surprised. There's a little bit of thinkiness in it, but I mean, really, it comes down to there's not a ton of decisions to make.
No. It's
You
which one do I want first, and
Yeah.
just hope that nobody takes the one that I want of that area because I'm going over here first.
Exactly. And then it gets down to that last round, and you really don't have a lot of choices. I'm not in this row. Guess what I have to take? Because I can't take any of the rest of the things I've already gotten those this round.
Yeah, and I do like in the game-ending scoring where they have the last card in the row is upside down where you can't see what it is.
Yes.
So if you don't like any of those, well, take a chance. Take the one that you can't see and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
They do that in the city tiles as well.
Yep.
And
They do.
then in the, I guess, the decorations for the lakes or the parks, whatever it was that you called it.
Accoutrements.
Yeah, there you go. That word. The last one is you have one that's up. It's two tiles you get on that one.
Yeah.
One's face up, one's face down, so you don't know what the second one
Yes.
is. And then on the
Buildings.
you have that one area where you're going to draw two out of a bag. Plus, you get to be first player though, but you don't
Right.
know what you're going to get. So
Yeah.
there's always that.
That-
And last night in
Nothing works for me, so I'm going to take a chance on the mystery
yeah,
one.
we played this at the BGI game night,
Yes.
one of the local board game groups we're with. And Connor did that a lot. He was always, let's see what the surprise is this
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a really cool
Very quick
way
game.
to do a building. Yeah, and it's quick. So
Yeah. It's a good filler game. It's light. It's easy to teach. It's very quick. But yet there is some thinkiness and some strategy to it.
yep. And there's take that in. I mean, you could hate draft,
Oh,
not
you could
really
easily
want
hate
it though,
draft.
but it could mess you up later though.
Yeah.
But you kept it from the other person who really, really, really needed it
Yeah.
taken.
Connor only did it to you once.
Next game is vegetable stock. This is a little bitty card game. I first heard this through Chris Yee and Wendy Yee. They talk about it a lot, and it's just a bunch of cards with vegetables on it. And sometimes there's one vegetable, sometimes there's two vegetables on it though. But you're taking, and then there's other cards on the other side of the play area that is keeping track on how valuable each vegetable is. So in a two-player game, there's three cards out. Whatever card does not get taken moves whatever vegetable on that card up the stock. And when it gets to a 5 and has to move again, it now busts, so now it's back down to 0.
Yeah.
So you play through it. I don't remember how many times a hand is, but
6 rounds?
okay. So if you play six
I'll say
rounds,
6 rounds.
these stocks have been going up and down, and you've been collecting different vegetables in your hand, like corn, tomato, broccoli, carrots. Is that it? No, there was one more.
There's 5.
Corn, broccoli, tomatoes, carrots. I think that is it.
Nope, there's 5. We've only played with 4 because in the 3 and 4 player game you only play with 4.
Because we haven't played with carrots though, and carrots came off the top of my head, but I don't
know.
remember
There's a
what
fourth-
eggplant.
Yes.
Eggplant's the other one.
Yes.
But yeah, so at the end of the game, you count up how many vegetables of each type you have, and then multiply it whatever level the
By the-
stock is for each one, and the one with the most points wins. It's really cool. It's very short, and it's not a game that I expected to sell out of Gen Con because it came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and it did. It did sell out.
Yes, because we played it because Matt tried to go back and get one
Yeah.
after we played it at Gen Con like 3 times in a row.
4 times in a row Sunday morning. Yeah.
And when he got back there, it was already sold out. So, but a really cool game.
I remember one we left off of the new games to the collection.
What's that?
Cat in the Box.
It's not a new game to the collection.
Well, no, but we got the colossal version of Cat in the Box. Oh, I have to make sure I put that in my log. But yes, we also picked that one up because Matt purchased that one for us as a thank you for letting him stay. That and actually Middle Ages.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, I'm sorry. I don't know what just made me think of that.
Speaking of Middle Ages,
Speaking of Middle Ages, all right, that is the last game we are going to cover again in the new category. So we've gotten to play this one quite a few times already. We've played it 3 and 4 player.
Yes.
No, I take that back. We've only played it 2 and 3 player. We've not yet played it 4 player because we've
Oh,
not
that's
broken
right.
into the
And it
4
plays
and
up to
5
5.
tiles. Yes. We are going to take it and play it with Cooperative Nerds tonight, though, so we are going to get to play it 4 player finally. All right, so the way this one plays, again, this has a sort of a King Domino feel to it. You have 4 sets of tiles out. Each set of tiles encompasses the number of players plus 1.
yep.
There are 8 different types of buildings in the game, ranging from your fields, which are wheat, your mills, your windmills, your castles, your villages, your churches. Each one of the 8 different types of building do something different. All of them provide you money when you pick them up and add them to your fiefdom, but each one does something different.
Yeah, each one has a special power.
So like the fields give you an extra coin for every farmer you have on your tiles. The windmills give you an extra money for... No, the windmills actually, you get money from everybody else who has fewer windmills than you do.
Yeah, you get 2 coins.
The castle gives you an extra icon, an extra token you can put, a scoring token you can put on one of your other buildings to help. The palaces, thank you. There's
the palaces upgrade your board.
Yes, they basically give you a token
icon
to upgrade your board so you make more money off of something else.
Yep.
Then there's the churches. The churches give you the same type of icon, only this one's for coins rather than another type of building. So all 8 do something a little different while still providing you money at the end of the round. Mm-hmm. So the way the game plays, you've got your board. You've got to try to get one of each, at least one of each, in the 16 rounds the game plays. Because if you don't, it's minus 10 points at the end of the game.
For each one you don't have.
Yeah, for each one you don't have. So if you fail to get a village and a palace, you're losing 20 points at the end of the game.
And I did that when we played it 2-player.
You did. The game starts and the game continues on with 4 sets of these tiles out. Your horses or your player tokens start on the very top row. You move them down to the next row, choosing which building you want in player order from left to right, and then you take
domino thing.
This is that king domino feel. Then you take the tile you just vacated and put it into your fiefdom and do what that tile does. Then the next round you do the same thing, and meanwhile, as you are taking tiles off, you are grabbing 4 more tiles, or how many ever more tiles you need, sorting them out by the number on the back, again like King Domino, and then flipping them over. The idea being the higher numbers are more valuable tiles, or more desirable tiles, but it puts you last in the turn order for the next round. So it's got, again, that same King Domino feel to it. Maybe that's why I really like this one. King Domino is one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Again, plays in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Because we played that twice last night.
Yes.
And we're still done a half hour early.
Yeah, we were.
But I do like the ramparts. When you build a rampart, you get to put out a scout. And you can put it out on any tile in front of you, or some of them, if you're down farther on the rows, anywhere on the board, basically.
Yes. And
you can save that tile. Nobody can take that tile. Now, when you get to that row, you can take that one if you want, or you can take another one. It's just nobody can take that tile.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, it is a very interesting game. That was the last of the ones we're going to talk about today. Those are the 3 that we have played a lot since picking them up. Mm-hmm. We'll probably talk about more of them next time. But then again, next time we'll have After the Retreat, so we're going to have a whole new stack of games.
Yep.
We'll see.
All right. So it's a new segment. This is called The Hot Seat. And this is why I picked up that game, the Hot Seat, when I seen it in the consignment shop at Gen Con. I said, hey, this is cool. We will have somebody get on the hot seat, and the other person can draw 4 questions and ask them to the person receiving the questions, which this time it's me. Katie's asking, and I'm answering. But my thought is, too, that we're going to bring on guests every podcast and have them put on the hot seat. So next week, Katie's on the hot seat.
Yep, maybe we'll do some recordings at the retreat, at least with Jeff and Matt.
There you go. Yeah. I'll have to take them back to a separate room or back to the hotel rooms or something, but sounds good.
Okay. Some of these questions are a little weird. It's not like, what did you want to be when you grow up type of thing.
There wasn't one in there because I pulled it.
Yeah, you did.
When we were looking at it.
What did your 10-year-old self want to be when you grew up?
Yep.
All right, so this one I've just pulled. What is the hardest thing I've ever had to say no to?
What is the hardest thing I've ever had to say no to? Have I ever said no to anything?
You say no to me all the time when I want to play a game and you don't want to play that game. Just saying.
Wow, that's something you don't ever think about.
Yeah.
The hardest thing I've never ever had to say no to? Oh, my. Holy cow. I don't know if I ever have. I had a hard time saying no to something. Because I'm thinking it's something you really, really wanted, but you say, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
Right now, it would probably have to be something with a game that I really, really wanted, but knew it wasn't going to happen.
I don't know. The first one that comes to mind for me, if I were to answer this question, was, this was 20 years ago. A friend needed to borrow money. We could have lent it, but what he wanted it for, it was easier to do something else instead because I knew I was never going to see that money again if I lent it to him.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up lending him what he actually really needed versus the money. So he could just go out and buy that thing, knowing I'd never see that money again. I lent him, I don't even remember what it was. It was a heater or something. I don't remember what he needed, but yeah.
That's a really hard one. But yeah, it would have to be. Yeah, the only thing that comes to mind is a game or two or a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do and had to say no because there was just no way we were getting around to do it. I know it's not a really interesting answer, but it's the only thing that can come off the top of my head right now.
All right, let's see what this one is. Oh, well, hey, look. What did 10-year-old me want to be when I grew up?
A race car driver.
Okay.
You look at me like you're surprised.
I'm not. I'm really not. Considering every time I get in my car, you've pulled the seat all the way up, so you're practically hugging the steering wheel. I have very long legs, and I hate it when he's driven my car and moved my seat.
My legs are just as long as yours. I just like being up close to the steering wheel.
I know. I hate it.
Just like a race car driver.
I hate it. I have to be as far back as I can get.
Okay.
So, and I bump my knees or I bump my head every time I get in my car after you've driven. So, all right. So anyway, that's
2.
That's 2. How many you want to do?
I said 4.
Oh, I didn't realize you said 4. Okay.
Yes, I did 4.
What would a documentary about my life up to this point be titled?
A documentary? How is this man still alive?
That would be, yeah, right?
With everything that's ever happened to me via work or via my younger self.
Okay, question number 4. What is the strangest thing I do on a daily basis?
Are you referring to my routine that I do every morning during work?
I'm reading a card. That's all I'm doing.
What is the strangest thing I do on a daily basis? I don't think anything I do is strange.
You leave for work for a 30-minute drive an hour and a half early every day.
I give myself plenty of time, and I enjoy the quiet time sitting on the job site, not having to think.
I would rather enjoy the sleep, personally. But hey, whatever.
Hey, that's just me.
Okay. Now, granted, I go to work when there's no rush hour, so I can leave at 4:40 and still make it to work on time.
Mm-hmm. I thought maybe you were talking about my whole routine in the morning to get up and go to work, everything that I do, it's exactly the same thing every day.
Well, yes, that is strange, too, but
it's not strange. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
So this is going to do it for episode 71. If you like this episode or any of our content and haven't subscribed to a podcast, please do so by going to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and comment. This is how others can find the show. Also, you can check out on YouTube, the Meeple Society. There you can subscribe and watch all of our videos and even listen to the podcast. Follow us on social media just to keep up with us and see what we are doing. Just follow the links in the show notes. There you'll find links to our Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, Threads, Discord, and our merch shop. Or you can contact us directly at the Meeple Society at mail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.